Hi guys, in today's video we are going to learn about the concept bond valuation, and I hope this video helps you to gain some knowledge on this particular concept only if you watch this video till the end. Okay, let's take the first concept, that is, what are bonds? What are bonds? These are set as the financial securities that are issued either by government or the companies or the firms. We can say the firms or the companies or the government. So these are issued by the governments or the firms, and these are called the financial securities. So why they issue some bonds? Like when they need some money, so that's the reason they issue the bonds, and whoever buys it, they will not buy for without a reason, right? They expect something in return, that is the interest. Like if I buy those bonds, I will expect that I will get some periodically in some interest, so that I can get benefited. And at the same time, the firms and government are also getting benefited because they are getting the money they wanted at the right time. Okay, so these are the financial securities that are issued by firms and the government as a means of borrowing long-term funds. Okay, and these are having some particular specific period. Okay, they are having some specific period. So if I say that a company is issuing bonds for 10 years, then the bond age is 10 years, right? So after 10 years again the government or the firm will buy back. So that buyback term is called redeemable. What is that called? Redeemable. Okay, so they will redeem their shares back. That means they buy back the shares. Okay, so they will be redeemed at the specific for a after a specific period they will redeem their bonds back. But within this time of 10 years, I said the bond is redeemable after 10 years. So within this 10 years the firms will provide the particular or fixed interest rate, or we can say they will provide the fixed interest rate to the persons who have bought those bonds. Okay, so how they can say this is the interest that I can give? It completely depends on the value on which the shares have been, like the bonds have been bought, right? So that is called as the face value. That is called as a face value. Okay, I hope you are clear till now. Let me explain, like let me revise it once again quickly. So bonds are the financial securities that are issued either by the firms or the government as a means of borrowing long-term funds. They are issued with a fixed value, and they have some fixed interest rate, and they are redeemable after some specific period. Got it? So this is the quick introduction about bonds. Next, there are some key terms that are needed to be learned before we are getting into the sums or the problems. Okay, so here let me give you a quick concept here, which is expected cash flow. That is, when I'm buying this, I'll expect some cash flow in return, right? So how I can calculate this cash flow is the annual or the periodic. Let me not confuse you, I'll write the periodically paid. Okay, periodically paid interest payments. Like I told you, na, they will issue some uh, interest periodically, either it can be done annually or semi-annually. So periodically paid interest payments plus repayment of principal. That means like I am buying it 100 rupees, let's say. Okay, I am buying it 100 rupees for 10 years. So what happens is, first I am giving my money to the particular firm or the government, right? So once I have given my money to the particular firm, and when I bought my bonds, what happens here is, every time, let's say for 10 years, every year, for the 1 year, 2 years and 3 years, annually I'll get some interest from them. Okay, once this 10-year period has been completed, they will give my 10th year interest rate, also my money that I have kept while buying the bond. So this is how I can expect my cash flow, like every year the periodical interest pay, and also the principal or the amount that I have kept while buying this bond. So that is how I can calculate my expected cash flow. Now let's see the key terms that are important for solving the problems. Okay, so the first one that I want to discuss is face value, which is also called as par value. Okay, so this is like either face value or the par value. This is the amount borrowed by the company, and that is need to be repaid on the specific date. Okay, like when they are issuing the bond, they will specify the bond price, right? They will say that we are issuing the bond for 100 rupees. So the company is saying that they will issue this for 100 rupees. So this will be the face value. Okay, about coupon rate. Okay, so what is coupon rate? It can be said as rate of interest given on face value. Okay, so which is paid to the bondholder. This is paid to bondholder. Okay, who is bondholder? The persons who bought those bonds, right? So the company pays them periodically some interest. So half they will give interest depending on the coupon rate they have given while issuing the bond. Okay, next one is redemption value. I already told you what is meant by redemption, right? So redemption is nothing but buyback. So the value at which they are buying back is called as redemption value. And one more thing, they can buy back the bonds from the bondholders at the same price they issued. That is, they can buy back at face value or par value, or they can buy back in discounted or premium. And discount or premium, that means, what is meant by discount? You already know, it's like not giving the exact money, reducing some amount from that money. So they can buy back their bonds at the value they have issued, or less than the value they issued, or more than the value they issued. So it depends according to that period and the situations they are. Okay, so redemption value can be cut short, said as value at which shares are redeemed. So next, the final term, the most important term, is market value. So what is this market value? We have said that the companies will say that this is the bond price, and the who are interested, they will buy those bonds. That is called face value. So once they have bought those bonds, there will be some purchasing and selling in the, like, it will be usually done in stock market actually. So actually bonds are bought in stock market. So once who bought those bonds can resell to another persons, or some members can buy from the persons who already bought those bonds. So they can, like, if I have bought this bond, let's say, so I have purchased the bond at 100 rupees, and I can sell this bond to some other people at 105 rupees. Or else I can also, sometimes if I think I can't get much return, so sometimes I can also sell it at lower rate. right? So this is like, it's not related to the company or the government. This is completely related to the buyers and sellers in that particular market, in the market. So that's the reason it is called as market value. So it is the price of bonds in OTC market, and here it is the purchasing or the selling price done in the market, that is called as market value. So these are the four important terms that you need to be aware of before doing the problems. So that's the reason I have done this revision till now. Without any further delay, we can go ahead with the problems. Let me take an example that we have discussed about face value, right? The value on which the bonds are issued by the company. And we also have discussed about coupon rate or the interest rate, right? What is meant by coupon rate? Like, it is the return, right, sorry, it is the rate of interest on the face value, right? And we also have discussed that it will be having some specific period that is called as maturity period. Okay, so that is also we have discussed. And then we have also discussed about the required rate of return, right? Required rate of return. So these are the main things that will be discussed and that are needed. Okay, so now we are going to find the market value. Then where are the values? Wait, let me give. Okay, so here let's assume that a company has issued their bonds at the face value 1000 rupees, and the coupon rate is 12%, and the maturity period is 5 years, and the required rate of return is 10%. So we are here to calculate this market value. So the formula for market value is, I'm just writing MV. So market value is interest pay PVIFA K percent, which is the required rate of return, and N, which is the maturity period, plus face value PVIF K percent comma N. So this is the formula for market value at present. Okay, so let's find this using this data. Okay, as we have discussed about the formula, which is market value equals to, or the present value, or we can say what is the, like, they will say this and they'll ask you to find the market value. So the formula is interest pay. So I hope you have wondered about what is this interest pay and what is this PVIFA. So as we are going to calculate the present value, we are taking the concept of time value and money. Okay, so face value PVIF. So which are the things that are not with us right now? Those are interest pay. So let me tell you how we can calculate this interest payment or interest pay. So how we can calculate is the face value into coupon rate by 100. Okay, so you can say that face value is 1000 and coupon rate is 12 by 100. Now my interest pay is 120. So this is my interest payment. Okay, so now I will substitute it here, and I already know the face value, which is 1000, and my required rate of return 10%, and N is 5 years. So let's substitute here. Now I am doing this market price, right? So without any further confusion, let me write MP, which is market price. So what is my interest pay here? It's 120. So 120, and I hope you know the formula for PVIFA, that is 1 plus K whole to the power of 6. Sorry, here is 5, right? Sorry. So whole to the power of n minus 1 by 1 plus k whole to the power of n and plus. So this is the formula. here we need to take it in the k in the form of decimals. Okay, we are not taking in the form of percentage. So here I need to write like 1 plus 0.10 whole to the power of 5 minus 1 plus 0.10 whole to the power of 5, and here this is half I will write, because here k is 10% and n is 5. Okay, and what is my face value? 1000. And what is PVIF formula? It is 1 by 1 plus k whole to the power of n. This is PVIF, right? So let me substitute this. 1 by 1 plus 0.10 whole to the power of 5, right? This is half I need to. So I need to solve them, and so that I will get my market price. Okay, so without wasting time, I have done this calculation, and I request you to pause the video and you can do this calculation and you can cross check with the answer I have got. Okay, so this can help you. So that's the reason I have done the calculation. So I have solved it step by step, and finally I got my market price as 1075.80. And always try preferring after decimal you can take up to 4 digits, so that you can get some accurate value. Okay, so this is how, and my market price is 1075.80. so this is the way how we calculate the market price. And let me also tell you how to calculate semi annually. So this has been taken for annually, right? Like this is taken for annual. So let me also tell you the formula for semi-annual. Before that, let me write this formula once again, so that you will never get confused. So here I'm saying that market price for for annual is interest pay, PVIFA, K required rate of return, N plus face value, PVIF, K percent, comma n, right? So this is what I meant till now, right? So this is for annually, right? So let me tell you, if it is semi-annual, like if the interest payment are paid semi-annually, then what's the formula? What is the formula? Let's see. So here, remember, we will see, let me take a quick diagram. So this is the point where I started and where I'm going to end. Okay, so this is 0 and this is my fifth year. So every year, 1 2 3, sorry, I'm very bad at drawing, give me a minute. Let's say I am starting from 0, 1 2 3 4 and 5. Okay, so I am buying my bond at 0th year, that is, let's say today. Okay, so today I am buying the bond, so I have given my 100 rupees or 1000 rupees. Okay, I have given my 1000 rupees to the company and I have bought my bond. Now every year I am getting some interest pay, that is 120 rupees every time. Okay, every year they are paying me 120 rupees, and that maturity period is after 5 years, right? So after, like in the 5th year, they will give me 120 rupees plus whatever the value that I have bought, that is 1000, right? But what if it is semi annual pay? So they can't give after every like 1.5, 2.5, right? So they can't give 120. That means here, instead of paying 5 times, they are going to pay me 10 times, right? For every 6 months they are going to pay. So what will happen in this case? This will get erased and this will be half, right? So that they can pay me 60 rupees every time. Every 6 months they will pay me 60 rupees. Okay, so this is what. So what we are doing here, we are dividing the interest pay. That means whatever the interest pay we are getting, we are dividing it with 2. This is one point to be remembered, the first point. Now the particular time, so every 5 times they are paying me, right? Now they are paying me 10 times, so I need to double my period. Okay, I need to say 5 into 2, that is 10. Okay, so this is another point that needs to be remembered. And interest pay is done, the time period is done. Now coming to my interest rate, so that also needs to be divided by 2. So the required rate of return, which is k also should be divided by 2. I'm writing it here so that you will not get confused. So these are the 3 main important things that you need to keep in mind when we say semi-annually. So the interest will be divided by 2, required rate of return will be divided by 2, and also the time will be multiplied with 2. Okay, so now let's form the formula for this semi-annual one. Okay, I hope now you are going to tell me. Okay, so let's take this formula as a reference and try it. Okay, I'm not saying it out because you tell me, like, you yourself think what we can write here instead of interest pay. Okay, I hope you all thought in the correct way, right? So what we are doing simply here, we are just taking here, see, this is how we changed. K is what it changed, N is what it changed here, right? So we are changing this 3 main things so that we can calculate for semi-annual. So please remember this and do the concept. So if you want to take the same sum, you can take, so where you can do it for semi-annually also. Okay, so that you will get k by 2, 2n, that is 2 into 5, and interest pay, which is 120 divided by 2. So this is you can do for semi-annual. Got it? Let's talk about the last concept of today's video, that is for one period holding. What is this one period holding? Any guesses? Let's say I am the one who is purchasing these bonds. Okay, so I am purchasing these bonds, and I have bought this. I have bought a bond at the face value 1,000, and I want to, I want to sell it. Okay, I'm selling it after 1 year. Okay, selling it after 1 year, and so I'm selling it, but I'm selling it 800. Okay, I'm selling it the price 800. And what is the coupon rate that I had, which is 8%. Okay, so now let's calculate, what if I have kept the bond with me for a year and I'm selling it back. So how can I calculate whether I'm how much like what is the difference that I'm getting. Okay, so let's see the formula first, which is PT1 minus PT0 plus interest pay divided by PT0. So the price at which I have bought, the price at which I have sold, and the interest pay that I had with me for that 1 year. So how we calculate interest pay, you already know, that is FV into CR by 100. This is for interest pay I am talking. So for interest pay, 1000 into 8 by 100, which is 80 rupees, right? So now I'm going to substitute. I have sold for 800 and I have bought for 1000, and my interest pay is 80 and I have sold it for 1000. So do the calculation and let me know the value. I'm just pausing. So now I am getting here the value is around minus 0.12. That means see here I'm getting minus, right? So which can be said that if I'm doing it like this, I'm getting 12% loss. I'm getting 12% loss. So to know this is the formula that we use. Okay. There might also be a situation that where I can sell this at 110 rupees. So again this formula will change, right? So here it will be like 110, like 1100, and again this calculation will change. So this time for sure I'll get some profit for sure, right? So to know this is the formula for one hold period, like one period holding. So I hope you found this discussed about what is face value, what is coupon rate, what is market price, everything, right? So and also we have discussed what are bonds mostly, right? So in this video I'm coming with the concept current yield. What is meant by current yield? Here, when a person is like suppose a person is investing in some firm, okay, so when he is investing in some firm, he will expect something in return for sure. Like he is investing, so for sure he will expect something in return, right? So what this current yield does is, it will be like the expected thing from the bondholder's side. So when he's investing in the bond, what he's expecting to earn is the, like, we can say that it's like the expecting return. Okay, but here there is a small trick, that is it is a return an investor would expect to earn. Okay, it's just an expecting return from the investor side, but it is not at all the actual return. He's just assuming if I as I'm investing, I will get this much of return. That is what he's doing from his end. Okay, now, but here is a small trick. As if you discuss like if I discuss with the formula, you will understand it more clearly, I guess. So the formula for current yield is current yield equals to interest by current market price. So here interest, it is like, I'll tell you, current market price. Okay, so here he is assuming, he is doing things like he's assuming his return with the current market price. It's not at all he's considering the face value. He's completely current considering the current market price, and here it is the interest pay. So based on the interest payment and the current market price, he is expecting his return on investment. So this is the concept of current yield. Let's say he is getting an interest pay of 80 rupees, and the current market price be 800. Okay, so he can just calculate, like by calculating he can get his expected return in percentages. So 80 by 800, so he will get 0.1, which is, when it converted into percentages, it is 10%, right? So he was thinking that if I invest with this current, like this is my current market price and this is my interest pay, so I might get 10% return with this bond. So that is what he's assuming, he's expecting. Got it? I hope now we are clear with the concept of current yield. Yield is, the meaning of yield is income, or the input we are getting, like the output, like it's like the income that we are expecting. So we are expecting our current income through our current market price and the interest payment. Fine. Now let's move on to the next concept, that is yield to maturity. Yield to maturity. So in the word itself you can see that it's like yield. Yield is what I have told you about yield. It's the income that we expect, right? It's the income that we need to get when we invest. So that can be considered as the yield. What is maturity? The time of the bond. So if I say the maturity is 5 years, the bond duration, so after 5 years I will get my clear returns. Okay, so that can be said as in yield. Okay, so what we expect. Okay, so here current yield is what we expect, but here yield to maturity is exactly what we get. Okay, it's the specific time period, I can say, maturity. I hope now we are clear with this yield to maturity, but let me explain in clear terms. Okay, so yield to maturity is the total expected return from a bond. So it is the total expected return. It is the total expected return from a bond when it is held, like when it is held until its maturity. Okay, when it is held until its maturity, that means like if I told you the concept, right? Like if the maturity is 5 years, so if I'm holding the bond till 5 years, so that is what I'm expecting, like what I'm exactly expecting when I'm holding the bond for that maturity period is yield to maturity. Okay, so here coming to this concept, it includes all of your interest and all of your interest payments, like the coupon payments that we have discussed, and also the either it can be sometimes at premium or discount, we discussed it, right? So premium or discount adjustments, so it includes the complete things that, like it's like the complete flavor that we get if we are waiting till the maturity of the bond. Okay, so now here it is like from 0 to time till maturity, what all we are getting, it is yield to maturity. Now let's discuss about the formula. So the formula is by Tm of bond equals to interest pay plus, I can write capital I, but I'm not writing it because you shouldn't get confused between interest and interest pay, like the coupon rate and the interest pay. Okay, so that's the reason, and this is the formula that we need to follow. F minus P by N divided by 0.4f plus 0.6p. I hope you would be wondering what is this fp and n. So f is the face value. I hope you already have an idea about face value, and p is the market price. Okay, p is the market price, and then we have n, which is the number of years to maturity. Okay, so this is what we have. So let's take a quick example so that you will get more in detail. So let's say I have my face value of the bond at 500 rupees and market price is 435. Okay, let's take it as 435, and then we have coupon rate as 12%, and the number of years, the time to maturity is 7 years. Okay, so if this is the case, first of all I need my interest pay, right? This one. So how can I calculate my interest pay? That is FV, face value, into coupon rate by 100. So what is FV? 500 into 12 by 100, which is 0.12. So what will be my coupon rate? Any guesses? Please pause the video and please do. It is 60. Okay, so interest pay is 60 rupees. Fine. Now let me substitute this formula here. Let me substitute this values here and let me do the calculation part. So my interest pay is 60 and my face value is 500 minus my market price is 435 and the number of years is 7. Next we have 0.4, face value is 500 plus 0.6, market price is 435, right? So this is what I need to do, and I need to calculate. So I will get 60 plus 9.2857. Sorry guys, I have done the calculation previously, but please do it you do it, because calculation matters and it helps you to do fast calculations in exam also. So do pause the video, do the sum, and then finally forward it to see the final answer. Okay, so here I have got, like, once I have solved everything, I got the answer as 0.15. So it will be expressed in percentages, so that's the reason it will be said as 15%. So what is my yield to maturity? It is 15%. So if I hold my bond till the time of the maturity on this the terms that we are using in this particular concept of bond valuation. So let me tell you that you need to be very clear about two main words, that is, like, two main concepts. One is required rate of return, another one is coupon rate. These are the two main topics where you shouldn't confuse between these two. See, I am representing coupon rate with CR, or and then required rate of return with K in my examples, right? So I just want to give you a clear idea what is coupon rate and required rate of return. Please listen carefully. Coupon rate, it is the fixed rate. Okay, I can say that it is the fixed in interest rate, I can say. So it is the fixed rate of interest. It is the fixed rate of interest on the fixed face value. Okay, or we can say it is the fixed rate of interest on face value or the bonds face value. Okay, that can also be done. Okay, so in order to get not to get much confused, you can say it's the fixed interest on bonds face value. So I hope you have a clear idea about what is face value. So face value is something like the value on which the bonds are issued by that particular firm or the government. So according to that face value, they will issue some fixed rate of interest, which is called as coupon rate. Then what is required rate of return? See, suppose, let's say a person A is here and he wants to invest regarding the bonds in some particular firm. So he will try to expect something from this, right? So for sure he needs some return. For sure he will expect those returns, like if he's investing, for sure we will expect something from that investment, right? So that is called required rate of return. Like here it's completely about required rate of return. It is the interest rate that a person who is investing is expecting, or I can say that the minimum return an investor expects to achieve by investing in a project. Like suppose here a person is there, he is investing, so the minimum return, I can say it as the minimum return an investor. So here A is an investor, so he is investing, so the minimum return an investor expects. So here he is not getting it, he's just expecting, if I invest I might get this much of return. So the minimum return an investor expects to achieve by investing in a project is called as required rate of return. So please be careful with these two terms, required rate of return and coupon rate, or another word for coupon rate is interest rate. Okay, so these are the two main things that you need to be aware of, so that you will never get doubt or confused in this theorems. Okay, and I hope you already have an idea about YTM, yield to maturity, current yield, market price, face value. So without any further delay, we will go ahead with the theorems. So the first theorem, the theorem 1 that I'm going to discuss is completely the relationship between, any guesses? Okay, so the relationship between required rate of return and the coupon rate. So these are the relation between these two is our theorem 1. So there is a small things that you need to take it into notice, because it can also help you to analyze your answers whether you're getting a correct answer or not. Okay, so as we are analyzing with coupon rate and required rate of return, if coupon rate is greater than required rate of return, if coupon rate is greater than required rate of return, means the company offering rate is greater than the expected return of an investor, then okay, then market price will be greater than face value. Okay, remember this order, because if coupon rate is greater than required rate of return, market price will be greater than face value. If you are just interchanging these terms, like face value less than market price, like if you're taking coupon rate is greater than required rate of return, then face value is less than market price, it might create some another confusion, right? So just remember that coupon rate is greater than required rate of return, then market price is greater than face value, so that it will avoid your confusion. Similarly, if coupon rate is less than required rate of return, what will happen? Yes, correct. Market price is less than the face value. And we also have the last one. What if coupon rate is equals to required rate of return? Market price will be equal to face value. Like suppose when they have given like let's take the quick example of your problems. If they have given you the coupon rate, required rate of return, and the time to maturity, and also the face value, and they are asking you to find market price. So when you're finding this market price, if coupon rate is greater than required rate of return, and if you get, like let's say face value is 1000, and if you get one something like this, obviously your answer is correct, right? If it is getting 900, it means somewhere you went wrong. Got it? So using this theorem you can easily predict your answers for sure. Yes, so this is one of the trick, and this is the most important theorem that one must remember. So this is theorem 1, relationship between required rate of return and coupon rate. I hope this helped. Like suppose let's take coupon rate is 12% and required rate of 10%. So like if the face value is 1000, the market price can be around something like this. uh, if I say vice versa, if it is 8% and if it is 10%, it will be like less than. If the face value is 1000, it will be around 970, 960 around. It depends on the number of years also at the same time. Okay, remember the concept, it also depends on number of years. Got it? Next, if coupon rate is equals to required rate of return, for sure this will be 1000 and this will also be 1000. Remember, this might come in your MCQ questions, so please pay some attention here. Okay, so I hope you have a clear idea about theorem 1. So without any further ado, we can go ahead with theorem number 2. So the next theorem is theorem 2, which is completely about discussing about the effect of number of years to maturity. Okay, so I told you, right, years of maturity can also play an important role in determining the market price, yield to maturity, and everything, right? So it also plays an important role in also calculating the market price. So please remember one thing, that if required rate of return, if required rate of return is greater than the coupon rate, then the discount on bond declines. When it declines as maturity approaches. So as maturity approaches means, let me take you a quick example and then reiterate the same sentence once again. Okay, let's say I have bought the bond at 1,000 rupees. Okay, let's say I have bought the bond at like 1,000 rupees in the 0th year, right? There will not be any year. So after 1 year, I can see there is some decline, and later on a bit decline. Okay, and so on it will go ahead. And when it comes to the final year, okay, let's say that my so the fifth year, that means like it will be 4 here, it will not be 5. Let me tell you why. Because here if I'm starting with 0 and it is 5, so it will be like 1 2 3 and 4, right? So it will be like 0th year I have already covered this, right? 1,000. So here in the last year, that is in the nth year, okay, so in the nth year it will be around, like let's say the 5th year of the bond, it will be around 940.41, something like that. It means when the required rate of return is greater than coupon rate, the discount on the bond goes on decreasing. Okay, so it goes on decreasing, and when I get at the end, it will be less than my face value. Okay, like less than the value that I have bought. So as the maturity increases, as the maturity, well, like when I'm approaching near to my maturity period, that is approaching near to my 5th year, then it will be decreasing along with this. So this is the effect of number of years of maturity. Let's say if required rate of rate is less than coupon rate, then what will happen? Then it will start increasing. It will not decline, and it will not like decrease. So as the maturity period increases, it keeps on increasing. Okay, that will be like the bond will be at premium, so it will be at like this and so on. In this year it might be around 1400, something like that. Means for sure it will see some increase in it. Okay, so that is what this effect of numbers of years of maturity tells you. Okay, so for sure required rate and coupon rate plays a role along with the number of years to maturity also. Okay, so this is about theorem 2. Next we have theorem 3. Theorem 3 is all about yield to maturity. It also has the theorem regarding yield to maturity. So let's say that we have given some yield to maturity and also the coupon rate. So here the longer the term of maturity, the greater will be the change in price with a given change in yield to maturity. And also I can say that yield to maturity is something like it is reflecting the bond's price also. To give you a clear idea, I can say that if, like, obviously YTM will be in percentages, right? So if I say there is a 1% decrease in yield to maturity, then my market price, like then that bond's market price will increase. Okay, market price will increase. Similarly, if I say there is a 1% increase in yield to maturity, then my market price will decrease. Okay, so this is the point that you need to remember. Next we have with respective to market price and face value. If market price is less than face value, then YTM will increase. Okay, and if market price is greater than face value, one second, if market price is greater than face value, then yield to maturity decreases. So this is the third theorem that you need to remember. Okay, so these are the theorems that will help you to have a clear idea about the exam, and also it will let you know that whether you're getting the accurate result or not. And there might be some questions like what if market price is less than face value, then what will happen for yield to maturity? So there might be some this tricky questions too. So just revise this three theorems clearly and completely, so that you will get a overall idea about this bond valuation. So that's the end of bond valuation topic, and let's see with another next topic in the coming video. Okay, until then, bye bye, all the best for your exams, and if possible please like, share and subscribe to my channel Learn with Smiley. Bye bye.